Okay, I'm going to show you my setup for how I make the half square triangles at my sewing machine. One of the most important things I think is I use a single hole needle plate. See how there's just one hole right there? A normal plate where there is a wider hole. This helps prevent the half square triangle from getting eaten up into the machine when the needle pushes down on it. And for some types of blocks, it's more important than others, but I think for making half square triangles and flying geese is probably the two of the most important ones. So if you have one of these, use it. If you don't, see if there's one available for your machine. They're not very expensive, and I think they're quite worth it, especially if you have issues with your machine eating your fabric. The foot that I'm using is called the HP2 foot. It's a 1/4 inch walking foot that's made specifically for Janome machines. You can use any regular 1/4 inch foot. If you have one that's also a walking foot, that comes in, I think that helps a little bit, but it's definitely not a necessity. When I'm making half square triangles, I always like to use a leader, which I'm just using a scrap. I just start my stitches on that, and it helps prevent nesting at the beginning of your sewing. Also turn down the stitch length on my machine just a little bit. My machine defaults to 2.4 and I turn it down to 2.0. So I'm starting my stitches. I'm going to sew each of these, and I'm just going to line up since I'm using this method where I've already cut my triangles, I'm just going to line up the edge of my block with the edge of my foot, which is how my 1/4 inch foot works. I like to sew all the pieces together like this so I don't have to keep breaking my thread. And I would do as many as I had pinned and then press them all and then trim them all. So that is how I set up my machine to make half square triangles.